Mr. Transformers 96 here with another end of the year video. This time I'm going to be doing a Marvel Legends ranking. This is something that I do every single year. I do 2 Marvel Legends rankings. Actually, technically I do 3. So I do my top 8 best, top 5 worst, and I rank all the Build-A-Figures of the year from my least favorite to my favorite. So this video I'm doing my top 8 best. So these are the top 8 that were my favorite Marvel Legends of the year. I did collect the majority of the Marvel Legends released. Just so you're aware, I skipped the Deadpool wave, the Strongman Build-A-Figure wave. I skipped that wave entirely. Other than that, though, I bought every other wave, and I completed every other Build-A-Figure. And I bought the majority of every other wave. There were some figures in the wave that I didn't get, but for the most part, I did buy the majority of the Marvel Legends figures released this year. This isn't just comic. I'm doing comic, movie, and games can all be included on this list. And I'm really going purely based on the figure quality itself, as well as my enjoyment with the figure too. That I do take that into account. But yeah, these are my personal opinions, of course. So if you don't agree with me, I apologize. These are the ones that I personally thought were my favorite of the year. So let's get started here. And last place on the best list, we have the Thing from the Fantastic Four wave, released, I believe, in January of this year. So overall, great figure. Not a completely new figure. This was basically a redo that was slightly different from a release of the same character that was a Walgreens exclusive. This time it's in his kind of different style costume. Of course, that just being really the pants. So it's mainly just a repaint, though. But it's a great sculpt. It really is. It's something that could pretty much qualify as a Build-A-Figure if they wanted it to as well. So the fact that they released it in the regular wave is quite nice, and the fact that he included a Build-A-Figure piece. This wasn't like an extra figure that you had to buy because, you know, he's kind of Build-A-Figure quality on his own. He does actually still come with the Build-A-Figure piece, and is just kind of a normal figure in the wave, which I think is quite impressive. And taking that 7th spot, we have the SpiderMan Retro series, J. Jonah Jameson. This was a figure that I actually have not opened. I like it in package so much. I think it's one that I will eventually open, but for right now, because it looks so good in package, I haven't done so yet. However, I can completely see the actual figure inside. I know exactly what it's like, and it's great. I really do like this. I think getting a J. Jonah is really fantastic. The last kind of version that they did was, part of a set that was for the Chameleon, and you can kind of make it a couple different characters, but it really doesn't fit as J. Jonah, just kind of having like a blue full suit. So having something like this with the kind of open vest, the rolled up sleeves, and the tie that's like swooshing in the wind because he's, yelling at somebody, it's perfect. You got the angry head sculpt, and then the accessories that it comes with are great. First of all, it comes with a pointing hand, which is extremely necessary for this character, a rolled up Daily Bugle newspaper, and then one that's fully opened. And what's really cool is it's like a full newspaper, the one that's opened. And what's really neat too is it isn't just like animated pictures or comic-y pictures of the characters. It's the actual Marvel Legends figures of the characters, which I think is just a great touch. So for the detail on the accessories, it's fantastic. And then the overall figure himself is really quite nice. And next up we have Shang-Chi from the first Spider-Man wave of the year. So this was a great figure. This is one that actually took me by surprise a bit too. I was looking forward to him from a character standpoint because I'm very interested in his new movie. So from that perspective, I was already looking forward to him to some degree. But getting it in person was actually really impressive. It used a lot of new sculpting pieces that I wasn't expecting. I believe the entire torso is completely new as well, which is great. He has superb articulation with the butterfly joint, with a massive range in that butterfly joint too, which is great. I love the tassels for his headband. They're sculpted really nicely, and whether he's in an action pose or he's just standing and they look like they're windswept, they look perfect. And then as far as his accessories go, he is loaded. He comes with 1.5 million hands, which is really fun and exciting and just allows you to do every pose that you could kind of want with him. And being a character that's very dynamic, it makes posing him a lot of fun too, and it just gives you a lot more options. So overall, a really fantastic figure. And taking the 5th spot, we have the Dark Beast from the Apocalypse X-Men series. So this is a really great figure. I believe my #1 Marvel Legends figure of last year was Beast. This reuses a lot of the same parts for obvious reasons, but with some new parts as well. And overall, it's a great figure. It's a fantastic sculpt. It really is. It's something that's much larger than your average figure, but still maintains like the average figure, like kind of thin body sculpt articulation, which is very impressive. You don't often see a kind of bulkier figure like this that does still have a butterfly joint, and this one does, which I think is really cool, as well as it has toe articulation, which is awesome too. The new head sculpt with the massive mane is really nicely done as well. I love the expression, and it's just as fantastic as the regular Beast figure, which is a fantastic figure. The only reason that it's not higher on the list is because we have seen it before, so it's not as new as when Beast came out. Nonetheless, though, it doesn't take anything away from the fact that it's a great figure. And in 4th place, we have the deluxe version of War Machine. This is a really cool figure. It's a new sculpt, which is great. I love the pearlescent kind of silver that they used. I think it looks really nice, and it pops against the kind of matte black, which looks really nice. And then, of course, the red kind of scope pieces pop on it as well, which is cool. This is a great figure. He comes with 1.5 million accessories and a lot of blasting accessories, which are awesome. It makes him really fun to pose and for pictures. And the accessory effect pieces are just super cool. It's something that you don't get very often, so to get a figure that not only has them, but just has 1 million of them is great. Now, of course, it is a deluxe figure because of all those accessories, plus he's a little bulkier in general, so he is $30, which, takes him down a notch. He might have been slightly higher on this list had there not been a price increase, but I understand it, because he does come with enough to warrant that. But overall, really great figure. And in 3rd place, we have the new version of Carnage from the Venom wave this year. This is great. This is something that, we have other Carnages before, so it's kind of hard for them to give you like a new version of Carnage when they've released several others within the past just couple of years. However, they did it right here. This is 100% a new sculpt. Every inch of him is fully newly sculpted and is actually physically sculpted, not painted. All of the goo kind of look on him, which was previously all just painted, is now 100% sculpted, and it's raised up quite a bit from the body too, so it's like very recognizable that it's all sculpted. And underneath that, it still has all the line work of the muscles, not just the physical sculpting, but it actually has like the almost muscle-like look of the lines, which is very impressive as well. Basically just lines going throughout each piece of the muscles. The new head sculpt is really cool, kind of has that absolute Carnage type of look. He has completely new style feet with toes and very aggressive hands, and then of course his tendrils are just kind of more sharp than usual, which gives him a very different look. So even though it's a figure that we've had 1 million times, I am ready to have it 1 million times more, because they come up with unique and interesting ways to do it every single time, which is very impressive. And taking that 2nd spot, we have the gray SheHulk from the Fantastic Four wave. So this is surprising to me. This was a figure that I didn't even really need this year. I would be totally fine passing on it, but I wanted to build a figure, so I decided to go ahead and get it. And it was just kind of a really surprise hit for me. I was very impressed with the fact that a lot of this is a new figure. I thought that this was very much going to be a repaint. It looked like from the pictures that the pants and the kind of torn pieces all down her legs were just painted. So to find out that they were fully sculpted, I thought was actually really impressive, and it means that the legs are 100% new, which is very cool. And then the tank top that's ripped, first of all, it looks really cool. I like the way they did it, but that's a fully sculpted piece as well, of course, which is completely new. And then the head sculpt is awesome. I love the hair. The windswept look is really neat, and then the highlights in it are really well done as well, and the angry expression is very cool too. So this is a great figure, and it was a surprise great figure, which made it just that much more cool. Alright, and my favorite Marvel Legends figure of the year is going to have to be this movie Venom from, of course, the Venom wave. So not only is it just so exciting to get a movie Venom figure when nothing was released when the movie came out, it would seem like we would receive no Venom merchandise, so to finally get a Marvel Legends figure of him is really cool on its own, but then the figure himself is great. First of all, he is massive, super tall. He's the tallest one on this list. He's taller than the Dark Beast and the Thing, and he is 100% new sculpted. sculpted. Not only just the kind of the pieces themselves, but it's fully textured as well. It has a goopy, wet look to it, which I think is really cool. They did like a gloss look where it's got to catch the light to see the gloss, which just, it makes it look like, you know, like an Iron Man figure maybe can have full gloss and he just looks shiny. But having this type of gloss where the light's got to hit it to see it, it makes him look wet in some places and not in the other, which actually makes him look really organic, which is very cool. So this is just a really fantastic figure that is of a character that I never thought we'd get a figure of, and it's a perfect sculpt. It's really fantastic. And there's my ranking video of my top 8 favorite Marvel Legends figures of the year. Kind of an interesting mix this year. A lot of different style characters, and from a lot of different kind of waves and series. The Venom wave has 2 entries in here, as well as the Fantastic Four. But other than that, everyone's just kind of from something different. But overall, just a really nice selection of figures. A lot of unique figures. And then some figures that are kind of not quite just reissued, but altered from figures from last year that were great as well. So just a solid assortment of figures this year. Very happy with them. A lot of them I wouldn't expect to be on this list even as well. Kind of like Shang-Chi and the Gray She-Hulk. Don't know if I would have expected them to actually end up on this. So same thing with J. Jonah. But when I just took a look at all the figures, those were the standouts. So overall, a great assortment of figures. And of course, again, like with every top 8 ranking video, the best, you gotta do one for the worst. So I will have that coming out too, of my top 5 least favorite Marvel Legends figures of the year. But there you go. Let me know what you guys think of my choices. I'd love to hear your guys' choices in the comments below. And thanks so much for watching.